All right, today we're going to decrypt the high-stakes game of cybersecurity. It's this constant, invisible battle happening just behind our screens, a whole world of digital shadows and unseen threats. So let's shed some light on how it all actually works.
So, to kick things off, I want to ask you something. In a world that's packed with complex code and all sorts of sophisticated malware, what do you think is the single most dangerous weapon an attacker can have?
The answer might surprise you. It's not a piece of software. It's the human mind. See, cybersecurity is really just a strategic chess match, a digital battlefield, where every single move is about gaining control. And to understand the game, you first have to meet the players.
So, before we can get into the nitty-gritty of this digital chess game, we need to know who's on the board, right? What drives them and, which side are they even on?
First up, you've got this term threat actor. Now, this is a really broad definition, and that's on purpose, because a threat can truly come from anywhere. It could be a malicious outsider trying to break in, or it could be an employee who just accidentally clicks on a bad link. Either way, the risk to the system is exactly the same.
What's so interesting here is how this breaks down everyone's motivation. I mean, you've got the obvious ones: competitors trying to steal trade secrets, state actors conducting espionage, criminal syndicates who are just in it for the cash. But look at these pieces of the chart: insider threats and shadow IT. These are risks that come from inside an organization, a lot of the time completely by accident, which makes the whole battlefield way more complex. And the word hacker itself isn't one size fits all. You've got your malicious hackers, the bad guys in the black hats who are breaking in for criminal reasons. Then you have authorized or ethical hackers. They wear the white hats. They're actually hired to find weaknesses before the bad guys do. And smack in the middle, you have groups like hacktivists who are operating in this kind of moral gray area to make a political point.
Okay, now that we know the players, let's open up their playbook. How exactly do attackers find and exploit the weaknesses in our digital defenses?
Well, it all boils down to this one simple question. What are they hunting for? They're basically searching for the digital version of unlocked doors and open windows in a system's architecture.
And it is absolutely crucial to understand the difference between these two terms. A vulnerability is a fundamental flaw in the code itself. Think of it like a crack in a building's foundation. An exposure, though, that's a mistake in how the system is set up, like leaving the front door unlocked. Both are super dangerous, but they come from very different places.
And the scary part? Attackers don't even have to guess. They have blueprints. The CVE list is basically the attacker's public library of exploits. They know exactly which books to check out to break into older systems. And for brand new stuff, they have the OWASP Top 10, which is basically a guide to the most common mistakes developers make. It's like having a treasure map.
So one of the most classic technical attacks is the brute force method. Just think of it like a digital battering ram. An attacker uses automated software to try millions or even billions of password combinations a second, just relentlessly hammering away at a login page until the lock finally breaks. But let's be honest, why attack the machine when you can just attack the person running it? And that's where social engineering comes in. It's the art of psychological manipulation, exploiting our natural trust, our curiosity, or even our fear to trick us into just handing over the keys to the kingdom. And this right here, this says it all. It perfectly illustrates why social engineering is so incredibly effective. The human element is often the weakest link in the entire security chain. I mean, why spend weeks trying to crack complex encryption when you can just persuade someone to give you their password? And you've probably seen these tactics yourself, right? Phishing emails that look just a little too real, baiting someone with a lost USB drive conveniently left in the parking lot, a quid pro quo call offering some fake prize for your info, or even simple tailgating, just casually following an employee through a secure door.
And the impact can be staggering. Take the infamous 2020 Twitter hack. The attackers didn't use some crazy new software exploit. They just called employees, pretended to be from the IT department, and calmly convinced them to hand over their login credentials. That simple trick gave them control over some of the most powerful accounts on the planet.
So when you're faced with all of these threats, how do you possibly fight back? Well, it's time to switch sides of the board and look at the defender's arsenal, the tools and strategies they use to build resilient systems. You see, a strong defense isn't about luck. It's a disciplined, continuous process. It all starts with identification, using automated scanners to find any cracks. Then comes analysis, where experts figure out just how bad those cracks really are. That leads to risk assessment,
prioritizing the most dangerous flaws first. And finally, remediation, which is the actual act of patching the hole before anyone can exploit it.
Now, a huge part of fixing things is applying updates or patches, and this creates a constant dilemma for security teams. Manual updates, they give you total control, but in a really complex system, you might miss a critical fix. Automatic updates are way more efficient, but a single buggy patch could bring your whole operation crashing down. It's a really high-stakes balancing act.
The modern approach isn't just about patching holes, it's about preventing them from being created in the first place. This is done with something called a secure CI/CD pipeline, which is really just a fancy way of saying an automated software factory. It builds security checks into every single step from the moment a developer writes the first line of code. It makes security a foundation, not just an afterthought. But the most effective defense, well, it's a proactive offense. The world's best security teams don't just sit around waiting for attacks, they go on the hunt for their own weaknesses by actually adopting the mindset of their adversary.
This brings us to a really crucial question at the heart of this entire field. How do you consistently beat an opponent who is determined, creative, and only needs to be right one time?
The answer is so elegant and powerful. You have to stop thinking like a defender who's just building walls, and you have to start thinking like an attacker who is actively looking for cracks in those walls.
And this philosophy is put into practice through what's called a penetration test, or a pen test. It is, quite literally, ethical hacking. Organizations hire experts to launch a simulated but very real attack against their own systems. It's the ultimate reality check, designed to find all those weak spots before the real attackers do.
A lot of times, these exercises are structured like a battle between two groups. You've got the red team, they're the ethical attackers, using every trick in the book to break in. And then you have the blue team, they're the internal defenders, and their job is to detect, repel, and respond to the red team's assault. It's this constant, controlled sparring that makes the entire organization's defenses that much stronger.
And that brings us to our final and most important move in this game. After all the advanced technology and the brilliant strategy, it all comes down to one critical factor.
Because here's the crucial point. Cybersecurity isn't just a technology problem, it is a human problem. You can have the best firewalls, the most sophisticated encryption in the world, but they are all ultimately operated, configured, and sometimes accidentally bypassed by people.
So that leaves us with one final thought. As we think about securing our digital world, we really have to ask ourselves, where is our biggest vulnerability? Is it in the software we write, or is it in the security awareness and the culture of the people who use it?